Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2 MLC2. Today going to present you a presentation about the secondary storage based on the Maqasid Syariah.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Nurain, Yusni, and my matric number is 121173. For the introduction for secondary storage based on Maqasid Syariah, the technology has almost little intrinsic value. So the information, on the other hand, is not like that in the sense that it must follow certain rules, ethics, and morals. So the internet can be used to propagate the dakwah while simultaneously being leveraged to spread negative information. And the main consideration is dealing with human activities is the Maqasid Syariah. So with the prevalence of ICT in human life today, it can be positioned as an important means of fulfilling the maslahah and bringing the maqasid to the full potential.
My name is Nur Azizah Binti Ahmad Azam. My matric number is 121729. I will talk about framework of secondary storage related to Maqasid Syariah. Framework of secondary storage related to Maqasid Syariah firstly is to study current ideas on technology shaping and suggest an Islamic perspective of technology and ICT shaping. It will be able to work as a vehicle for installing the values back into society rather than being used to propagate bias and destruction. Second is to identify the issues related to Islamic values for Malaysian ICT development through the views of the people involved in ICT development in Malaysia. The finding of these studies, qualitative fieldwork, provide an example of how this paradigm might be applied to studies of Islamic values in ICT. Third, to assess existing idea on the communication process and suggest ways to incorporate Islamic principles to ICT communication. They also must have niat in order to meet the goals of Islamic communication based on Tawheed, Syariah and Maqasid. So fourth, to explore contemporary perspectives on the concept of information and their relationships to the Quran concept of ayat as a means of creating Islamic values for information content in ICT.
Benefit of secondary storage in Maqasid Syariah. First, to fulfill the maslahah and bring about the Maqasid realization. For example, in the deen issues, information system for the management of zakat and hajj can be built. Nafs preservation, computer support system for dealing with medical emergencies in hospitals. Tahsiniyat, creating appealing computer visual and a user-friendly interface for a website for dakwah objective, and also to distributing information about Islam to the general public. Second, bringing the paradigm of Tawheed and spirit of Maqasid Syariah to ICT. So the degree of gain or harm is mostly determined by the human being responsible for inventing and implementing the technology. With a global and all-encompassing technology like ICT, the human being's involvement in this circumstance has grown exponentially. For example, Tawheed, Maqasid Syariah and Syariah ideals are offered as a plan for a balanced kind of human group. The constants of a basic principle of Tawheed is a revelation from God. That widely utilized technology, God's consequence, knowledge of the Maqasid and commitment to Islamic ideals should all be present in the works of ICT practitioners. For example, establishing system for handling zakat, transaction information should not be supported from illicit sources such as scamming. So system analysis and programmers should carry out their responsibilities with sincerity and devotion to attain high level of perfection in order to create a quality and effective system.
My name is Ibthisam Binti Ahmad Azman. My matric number 1211728. I will continue the benefits of secondary storage in Maqasid Syariah. First, the modern ICT is among the things that could be ruled legally. The modern technological creation will not be regarded as innovation in religion except if it will open the door to innovation in Islam. For example, looking to the modern way of interaction and transaction, many things have been modernized. Almost everything were about to be computerized or mechanized. On the other hand, this paper depicts Islamic viewpoints on the permissibility or prohibition of some modern technological advancement. In the modern Muslim world of today, certain products in the age of technological advancement, such as different technological products used in different spheres of life, such as communication, education, industry, military, and the host of others. The paper also calls Muslim scholars, particularly the modern ones, that they should adhere to being awareness to Muslim. Moreover, legalizing the utilization of computer can go with the rule of maslahah and mafsadah based on Maqasid al-Syariah. Thus, computer in Islamic perspective can be used based on life maslahah. This means we cannot prohibit its usage just because it was invented by non-Muslim. Thus, computer may be regarded lawful whereby it may be used in undertaking good thing maslahah. Lastly, computer can be abused. It may be used for unholy acts. It may be used to create several new ways for committing crime.
My name is Laila Nurain Binti Ramli and my matrix number is 1211742. Right now, I will explain regarding the relationship of secondary storage based on Maqasid Sharia. Secondary storage devices always refer to the storage devices that act or function as an addition to the computer's primary storage, RAM, and cache memory. It allows the user to store virtually all the program and applications stored on the computers, and since these drives do not interact directly with the main infrastructure and can be situated in a remote or secure site, it is very rare for it to be accessed by the hacker unless it is physically stolen. When we want to relate it with the concept of Maqasid Sharia, it will always depend on the person's values itself in determining their own action. For example, some of the user can use the secondary storage to keep such an inappropriate data of someone and use it to track someone else, or it could even be worse. Next, the use of secondary storage is a part of myth, or we call it as hajiyah. It has been proven that the previous Muslim civilizations had proved that the importance given to the values in producing advancement in science and technology. Furthermore, it can also be related to the concept of Tawheed in Islam. By conforming to the element of Tawheed in the user's life, it will make their life more ethical and surrounded by deep values as a good person in life that can be applied when they are using the advanced technology nowadays. For example, the user who applied the concept of Tawheed in his life while handling the secondary storage will not use it for anything that will bring harm or something that is haram, or we call it as blameworthy. That is all for me. Thank you.
Alright, next, the secondary storage basically is used for two main purposes, which is the file system and demand paging. Some program can avoid the file system performance issues in many cases by working in main memory. However, all the programs of the performance characteristic of demand paging are affected. With the abilities to perform logical comparison on the track, data items can be taken back by value rather than by the location. Secondarily stored data might not be under the direct control of the operating system. Therefore, this station is actually related to one of the concept of Maqasid Sharia, which is hifzul mal. This concept is really emphasizing the matter of someone's property or personal belongings. So, the secondary storage devices are actually facilitating people's matters and can protect our data and also our privacy from being stolen or lost. Secondary storage device, which is often referred to by ordinary people, is usually storage or memory, where the function is to store information or data so that it is not lost. In addition to this, even so many kids that know about this technology, however, if they didn't get monitored by their parents and being edited with negative things such as pornography and so on. So this is actually related to one of the concept of Maqasid Sharia, which is hifzul aqli, where it can be defined as giving protection to the human intellect from anything that will be destructive.
The challenges of secondary storage on Maqasid Sharia is, first of all, people will use secondary storage device for saving files contain videos that are prohibited according to Hukum Syara. So, this will be one of the challenge to fight with their own lust that are related for protection of life or nafs. Next, for someone who has a bad attitude, will use secondary storage devices to save others' personal information and use it for gains victims' money. So, it will affect the dual religion and faith because it is related to our manner and beliefs. It is related to our manner and acts. Lastly, a secondary storage device is a need or hajiyat in human life, and it is a reliability things. So the challenge is we might lose it somewhere. Usually people will save their personal information in there. So when it is lost, the function as a protection of life and property might be not existed.
So for conclusion, the Muslim community should do everything possible to use it for Islamic propagation and other Islamic activities. And if anything related to ICT offends Islam, they can simply avoid that or modify the ICT to meet their needs. This interactive software also encourages the Muslim children to study Islam. And also, the ICT professionals should be reminded that as a God's creation, they have a purpose to fulfill, and that they should be aware of and understand their purpose. To accomplish this, they must first and foremost believe in God. They should then act in righteousness to prevent abuse and mischief on earth, whether they commit them or prevent others from doing so. So this is accomplished through the technology they develop, which is guided by what God has given to them in the form of His words, by extension the signs He has shown for them to consider. That's all from us. Thank you.